Thank you for the opportunity. Shalom. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First at all, give thanks for God's love and grace for us. Thank you to the examiners and advisors who have given their time and allowed me to present the result of my research. Let me introduce myself. My name is Junitalia Monica Eyllonia Lumi. Student number 17043011. My first advisor is Mr. Joseph Tangon, and second advisor is Mrs. Elizabeth Daisy Malonda. As for the research that I will present at this time, with the title Analysis of the Role of Blockchain in Preventing Accounting Fraud. Here is an agenda topic that we'll discuss in this video presentation at this time. As shown on the slide, there are 9 cores that I will cover in this presentation. And the first is background. We all know that the progress of information technology is currently very rapid, so that in the field of accounting itself, technology is needed to support all activities and work in it. However, as technology develops, there are always gaps in the form of weaknesses in the technology, so that certain elements can take advantage of it to achieve an advantage and harm other parties. In this regard, it is very easy for fraud to occur, the form of accounting fraud by manipulating a transaction or previously stored data. As we can see, this one is showing how the flow of a system that generally works, where the system still has many weaknesses and is very vulnerable to manipulation, because the system is still centralized and its activities are only about input, processed, and stored. In this study, I choose PT Simpel Jaya, which is located on Jalan A.A. Maramis, Mapanget, Manado City, as the object of this research. This company is engaged in the sale of goods in the form of supermarkets and building stores. The accounting records have used a computerized system and are almost the same in general. That is using centralized system, or all infrastructure is centralized on a local device. Based on the discussion that has been described previously, I propose a technology called blockchain as a solution to overcome the gap to commit fraud in the accounting system, as in the use case study. With the decentralized and distributed blockchain, it can minimize fraud against data manipulation during transaction and when data is stored. The following is a little overview of the comparison of the system used now and the system that uses blockchain technology. This one describes the scheme of a system that uses blockchain technology and system that use computers in general. Where in the current system scenario, in terms of recording and storage, it is located on a decentralized code, so that it's very possible for theft, damage, or data manipulation to occur. Meanwhile, when using blockchain, it provides better security guarantees, where in terms of recording and storing data, it works in a centralized or distributed manner to all nodes that are members of the blockchain network, so that the stored data is almost impossible to manipulate because each node verifies the existing data. What exactly is blockchain? For more details about blockchain, I will describe it in the discussion section later. In the table beside, I get search results in the form of journals, scientific publications, and other indexed by Google Scholar regarding blockchain technology in the world of accounting and auditing. Research on blockchain technology is related to accounting and auditing is already quite popular in the publishing world. From 2008 to 2018, there was 297 scientific journals and publications discussing blockchain, accounting, and auditing. The following is a research roadmap that I have summarized based on research related to blockchain and accounting. The previous research section displays several studies that has previously been carried out, and become a reference for the other as a basis for problem solving. In the previous research, it can be seen that there was research conducted by Tiantono and Yuki Firmanto in 2019 with the research title Analysis of Blockchain Applications in the Context of Prevention of Accounting Fraud. And there was Alex Kikwelinski in 2019 in his research entitled Implementation of Blockchain Technology in Accounting Sphere. The Research Now section is the topic and research that I am currently doing, and future research is a suggestion for further researchers who want to enter the blockchain shadow for further accounting. The purpose of this study is to analyze the role of blockchain on the accounting record system in order to prevent accounting fraud at PT Simpel Jaya. Before we go into further discussion, I will explain some of the meaning of the technology concept that I use. And the first, accounting system. Accounting information system is a system designed to carry out data processing and information reporting both manually and computerized about activities related to finance. And two, accounting fraud. An act related to an act of criminal fraud that aims to obtain benefits or profits in the form of money on other parties who commit acts of fraud. And three, cryptography. Cryptography is an art or technique of encrypting or scrambling files in the form of text message or data with various extensions. Its function is to keep the data safe without any other party knowing the value of the data. And four, hash function. The hash function is an algorithm of cryptographic techniques. 5. Cloud server. Cloud server is a computerized infrastructure that is online and can be accessed anywhere. And the 6th is miner. The miner in question is something or a group that works as a cryptocurrency miner. Their job is to process data on blockchain in exchange for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. And now we will discuss about the conceptual framework. The chart, in addition to explaining what the author wants to achieve, start from looking at the initial conditions in the company's accounting recording system, which is still centralized, making it easier for accounting fraud to occur. This makes the author want to find a solution in preventing the fraud by linking blockchain technology into it. And the final result of this study is that the company's recording system was initially centralized. If when combined with blockchain technology, the company's accounting records could become decentralized so as to prevent accounting fraud and other things. So I can conclude whether the technology is worth using to prevent things that are in the background of the problem. And next, we enter into the following discussion regarding research methodology. This research is a qualitative research with case study method or approach combined with library research. For data sources, I have primary and secondary data in the form of those from scientific journals, literatures, articles, interviews, and direct observations. Next, for data collection, I carried out that collection techniques with literature studies and field studies. And furthermore, in the data analysis technique, there are three things I do, namely by reducing the data first, then presenting the data, and finally presenting the data. Next agenda, discussion and result. The first is about what is a centralized system. So until now, there are still many companies that use a system that is centralized or centered on a hardware, either traditionally or computerized. Centralized systems do sometimes bring convenience to us. Among other things, the manufacture and management is easy and low cost. However, the centralized system also has weaknesses and opens up gaps for certain parties to do things they shouldn't do. For example, it's easier to commit accounting fraud. As in the picture beside, manipulating data stored on the server is very easy, especially if the user in question has direct access to the server's device, but not with a centralized system. This system has many servers that can be used as processing devices or data storage devices. Of course, it is very safe because each server is connected to each other and verifies the similarity of data files, making it difficult for someone who will do illegal actions. And also, with the existence of a distributed and decentralized system, we have a lot of data backup. The following is the flow of the accounting recording system at PT Simpel Jaya. It can be seen that each part is interconnected in one system. We can see in the picture beside, there are 3 parts. In the first part of the picture above, it describes the purchasing system of PT Simpel Jaya, starting from the company ordering merchandise to suppliers. Then, when the suppliers have sent the goods, the company, in this case the warehouse, will receive the goods and recheck the goods received. After that, the goods that have been purchased are stored in the warehouse section. After that, the administration performs accounting records by inputting purchases invoice into the system. And the second part in the picture above describes the sales system of PT Simpel Jaya, starting from the administration sections, entering data on goods that are ready to be sold. When the goods are available for sale, the customer will select the goods to be purchased and then make a transaction to the cashier. Then the cashier will input the sales data into the system. The last part in the picture above explains when the finance department will make financial reports. To make financial reports, data is needed in the form of the number of sales and purchasing transactions that have been made during a certain period of time. Then the finance department will access this data from the system. As previously explained, blockchain is a system that is decentralized and distributed, so that it can replace the flow system that is still busy today. Blockchain is often referred to as a ledger because the data to be stored is distributed to each node or server that is connected to each other and verifies each other. The node that is meant here is a miner or cryptocurrency miner. The following is an overview of how a transaction works on the blockchain. In the scenario in the picture above shows that entity A will send or store data on entity B, which in this case could mean another user or a data storage server. There are several stages that can be defined for the data to reach its destination. In point number 1, describes the entity A has and is ready to send data. Then at number 2, in the blockchain system, the data is represented as a block that has a unique identity before being sent to each node that is part of the blockchain network. Then the beam is distributed to each node that is joined in the network. These nodes are commonly known as miners. Furthermore, at point 4, each node was validated and verified the data or beams that have been sent previously. After being verified, each node will get a reward in the form of digital currency or cryptocurrencies in the form of Ethereum, Bitcoin, depending on the blockchain platform used. The beam is encrypted by cryptocurrency. After being verified, the coding of the beam is stored together with the previous data block or transaction as shown in point number 6. After that point, number 7 is shown that entity B already owns or stores the data, with transaction records that already exist and cannot change or deleted. The hash function is a mathematical function in cryptography, whose mechanism is to change the input value of the data into a compressed and encrypted value, so that the encrypted data cannot be broken because it has changed into another character. The table above describes the output result of the same character length from the hash function. With blockchain technology that adopt the hash function, it can minimize cases of embezzlement of funds carried by certain individuals who have access to the company's accounting system, who usually work by manipulating financial books or data. In the picture below describes the gaps of weaknesses of the system used today. There are several parts of the weaknesses that exist in the system used today. Here are the results of my analysis related to the weaknesses in the existing system beside. A system that works in a local area can use several losses. Among others, can provide easier access to people who with a specific purpose to do make or steal data on server to as make a loss to the owner of the company. It can be seen that the section marked in red, this section can form a coalition so that they have potential to manipulate data procedurally for personal gain. And the risk is that previously stored data can be changed at any time. And the next, hacker attack, an encrypted data and infrastructure failure. After the author examines the sections that become the parameters of the previous research result, the author can conclude how important the role of blockchain is in overcoming several weaknesses in accounting system, which are generally centralized. In this following picture, I conclude a flow of blockchain implementation in the accounting system at PT Simpel Jaya. It can be seen in part number 1 is the computer of the users who have access to the accounting system. Unlike the previous design which was centralized on local computer itself, now I propose and design for all stages of recording, storage and final reports which are computerized by utilizing cloud servers as part of the processing of the system created. Cloud server, I mean the server processing is online. There are many companies engaged in data center service for us to run server computers and access them online, including Amazon Web Service, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure, and many more. Its purpose is to prevent damage to our local infrastructure so as not to cause the data loss. The data entered by the user and the number 1 is sent and processed on the cloud server and then sent to the blockchain network which functions as the database of the data system created. Data that is processed or stored on the server will not be easily retrieved or used because the data is encrypted. With a scam like this, it can prevent data loss or illegal data manipulation. After doing research on the role of blockchain on the accounting system to prevent accounting fraud, it can be concluded that blockchain technology is very feasible and plays an important role for the accounting system of various entities, especially PT Simpel Jaya, which still has weaknesses and to prevent accounting fraud. This is supported by the failures and characteristics offered by blockchain technology in the form of decentralized system, so that this technology can use as an indicator in preventing accounting fraud. After completing this research, I would like to give some suggestions, including 1. To PT Simpel Jaya. Preparation of financial reports that are still manual, it is recommended to use a computerized system that uses a cloud server in order to minimize the risk of damage to the accounting system infrastructure that causes the data loss in the system. As an effort to prevent accounting fraud, it is advisable to use the services of a blockchain developer for use in the accounting system. And 2. To the next researchers, for further research in the field of accounting, there are several topics that the author can suggest, among others, blockchains as a triple entry bookkeeping and cryptocurrency for blockchain. That's all that I can present about my research. If there are some mistakes with my presentation, I apologize and thank you for the attention.